Hello, beloveds. Hello, hello, hello. It's a beautiful week. We are back in our studio, the holographic playground, and it's beautiful here. The summer is coming to Hamburg and everything is blossoming. Also, our video channel, and I'm very, very thankful and grateful for all your support, all your commands, and all your questions. Please question, please engage. We are co-creating that space together. So today I actually would love to open the space, the field for the holographic playground with a whole new series of videos about entrepreneurship and playfulness. I love that word, entrepreneurship or entrepreneur. It's undertaking, it's taking in a risk, it's taking in a new venture. And the working inside of that paradigm, this working inside of that holistic being is coming actually from my own story. I have been very, very ill the past year, and recovery was a real issue. Working from day to day, getting better from day to day, and starting this new business. Of course, after a long absence, I want to be here. I want to be with all of you. So playfulness had to come in, the way of creativity, the way of playing with it. And then I started to understand, wow, this is really interesting because it's actually bringing in a whole new being, a whole new perception. And when you really think about it, like these very tiny, small shifts are bringing great, and opening great portals. And something a few days ago, I was listening to Terrence Howard, and it's, like it's breaking through the internet and the YouTube, his interview with Rogan. And I was listening to him speaking about the periodic table. I, as a practitioner of homeopathy, like practicing since more than 2 decades now, um, I was always looking at this periodical table, and I was like looking at these lines. It's almost like an Excel sheet, and my body would just shut down. Hydrogen and the very first ones are okay. You see my hands? That's great. It's my polish nail. And I was thinking, oh, you will take out that? No, my inner child said, no, leave it. It's beautiful. It's the playfulness inside of this field. You are walking your talk. That was my language inside of me. So I let it be, and I love it. Like in my studio, in my art studio, in my student times, in our house, hands like this were the normal. It was the normal day. My mother working with wools and dyeing wools, and my father working with his artwork. So you see, my hands are speaking the language of playfulness. So coming back to the periodic table, suddenly Howard is talking about this. It's almost like an octave of music or of overtones. And suddenly it's not in these straight lines, and you have to memorize the lines and you have to understand the lines because they have a lot to do with levels inside of the homeopathy. It's winding like a river, like our Nile River. Suddenly I had this feeling, wow, I saw relationships that I never have seen before, just in the perception of the periodic table in another way and in another configuration. So this is my very first invitation to you. What can be shifted at this very moment? What can you see differently? What can you do differently at this morning, this beautiful morning here, and it's night over there on the other side of the globe? Or afternoon, like we have this little globe, exactly like behind me, my beautiful colored nebula cosmos. So the shiftings or the very small shiftings, maybe the enlightenment is coming from that, because it suddenly something happens, but it is prepared, like a Buddha meditating for years and years and years, all of that, but the shift happens suddenly, the opening of the eyes is happening suddenly, and suddenly you see something from a different angle, and maybe receive a message from a different angel. So this is my invitation to you, and this is the opener of a whole series of inquiring into entrepreneurship and playfulness, concepts, strategies, ideas, practices. My very first practice is actually a very simple practice. I cut off all work and I allocate a time. It can be a day, it can be a weekend, it can be an hour, it can be 20 minutes. It doesn't really matter. But then you commit to that timeline. It has a beginning and an ending. You are alone or with your partners or with your team, and you allocate that time for playing. There are so many ways how to play, like throwing in words, throwing in a storytelling practice, ping-ponging ideas. Like there is myriads of practices around that. Very important is to not slide into work, and also not have that into your back head. Oh, I will be using this. Of course, our mind is working like that, but I want you to really immerse yourself in that playing committed time, because something happens with our brain, and something happens when you turn things around. For example, I have adversity against Excel sheets. I am a producer and a co-producer, but like budgets and Excel sheets are like green flags, no, red flags. And my co-producer, who will be really happening days and nights creating the Excel sheets and immersing himself in that world, it was almost like Chinese for me. And now I'm getting a daily Excel sheet. It's my daily tracker from my coaches, from my wonderful coaches from Australia. And I hope they are listening to this video. There is a big shout out for them and their team. Nadia, who is really working with me, tracking my daily wins, intentions, gratitude. And I turned it around. I am creating out of my Excel sheet entries a ritual. I am creating this ritual that I'm entering a powerhouse. It's full, it's my key card, like the goal that we have created for the Lionsgate on the 8th of August this year, and the daily intentions, gratitude, actions, reflections, like all of these trackers. I am using them now as a ritual of reflection, as a ritual of tapping into my own powerhouse, into the powerhouse of the support that I'm getting at this very moment while we are starting and restarting this whole venture. So where would you, like, where would you transform the periodic, your own periodic table, to-do lists, whatever there is in this lines and structures, and then you wind it up, or any other shape, or work with it in a totally different way, create a dance out of it, speak to it in a different language, in a childlike language. What would the child ask you about your business? What will your inner child like you to do at this very moment? Take a deep breath. I will be guiding a meditation. It's full moon, and it's a beautiful full moon, and bringing in all of that full power of intention. inviting you to your own intention, inviting you to subscribe to this channel, like, comment, ask questions, co-create with me, weave this with me. It's our playground together. Here is Ima, your host, and I'm wishing you a beautiful day, a beautiful play. Till the next time, be well, beloved.